Governor Pritzker's chief of staff, Ann Caprara, has said the following: the fight going on in the Democratic Party right now is not between hard left, right, and moderate. It's between those who want to fight and those who want to cave. And it gives me no pleasure to say this to you because we are friends, but I think you caved. I think you and 9 other Democrats caved. I don't think you showed the fight that this party needs right now because you're playing with by a rule book where the other party has thrown that rule book away.
True.
And so in my view, what you did really was, in supporting that GOP partisan bill that Democrats had no input in, you cleared the way for Donald Trump and Elon Musk to gut Social Security, to gut Medicare, to gut Medicaid. Why did you lead Democratic senators to play by that book that the Republicans are not playing by?
Okay, first, I'd say, Sonny, no one wants to fight more than me, and no one fights more than me. You got to fight smart. It is not true. That bill had far less it was bad. I hated it. But it does far less damage to Social Security. Medicare, Medicaid are far more susceptible to being eliminated, which is what that horrible Musk. Can you imagine this guy Musk, a billionaire, saying $1,100 for a senior citizen is not necessary,
but aren't
or
there
a Ponzi
cuts
scheme?
in that bill?
There are many fewer cuts in that bill than that would be in a shutdown.
But they
it was
still
a bad
exist.
choice. So we got to. Yes, they exist. But if you have two, have two choices, one bad, the other devastating. One chops off one of your fingers, the other chops off your arm.
That's right.
So I want to fight, and we are fighting. We're going to fight every day on this, every day. Today, we're fighting them on Medicaid. Tomorrow, we're going to fight them on, the next few days on tariffs. We're going to fight them on Social Security. But I want to win and fight smart.
Yes.
Not just, I understand, we want to stick it to them.
Okay,
we're going to stick it to them and fight smart and win.
Okay.
Senator, I want to talk to you about your book.
Yes,
because you're
thank
here
you.
to talk about this, a new book, Antisemitism in America, A Warning. Now, as the highest-ranking Jewish official in the U.S., this is clearly
Ever, by the way, ever.
Ever.
Who would have thought, an exterminator's son?
But it's very personal to you.
It is.
Why are you writing it now?
Okay, good. So I was born in 1950, and it was sort of called the golden era for Jews in America and in our whole history, because first, America was all moving up. My father, my grandpa worked in the paper mills. My father moved up and became a little more in the middle class. Everyone was. So that was a great moment. But for the Jewish people, it was an amazing time. When there's been so much anti-Semitism in 5,000 years of history, there was almost none in America. And the reason, to tell you the truth, the Holocaust and the horror of the Holocaust hung like a curtain over America. So in the past, when Jews were excluded from living in a certain place, from going to a certain company, or all that sort of went away, and even the innuendo language went away. In 2000, it started to change a little bit, because what we've learned, folks, when there's trouble, often, not in America, but even now in America, but in the past in America, people, they did in the past, but when there's trouble in the world, people often turn on the Jews.
Yeah.
That's been true for centuries of history. And so we had 9/11, and a few people were saying, oh, the Jews did it, they all escaped. Then we had the financial crisis caused by the Jewish bankers. But it was really never that bad until 2017. And until October 7th last year.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden,
When the Jews were attacked
when the
by
Jews
Hamas.
were attacked by Hamas initially, and the women raped, and the little babies' heads chopped off, and all of that, brutally. And all of a sudden, anti-Semitism developed, not just protesting what Israel was doing. That's legitimate. I've criticized, as you know,
Yes.
Netanyahu because I think he
Right.
didn't handle the war exactly right.
Overkill.
But real anti-Semitism. So a Jewish bakery, they threw a rock through the window. You're a Zionist. There's a woman who lives near me. She's head of the Brooklyn Museum. She's Jewish. She has nothing to do with Israel. They painted red paint all over her house. People who wore yarmulkes or Jewish stars were punched and vilified. And all sorts of nasty terms were thrown, not just for people for their support of it. There was a scene in New York. People got on a subway car. Whoever's a Zionist, stand up and raise your hand. That didn't mean whoever's a Zionist. They didn't know what whoever is a Jew.
Yeah.
So for the first time, my generation who had lived in such a great time, is wondering. Jewish people wonder always in the back of our heads, could it happen here? So first I gave a speech on the floor where I condemned anti-Semitism on the right and the left. It's in both places. It's like a pincer. But I kept thinking and thinking. I felt I had to write this book. And let me just say, I've written it for 5 audiences, okay? Quickly. First, my generation. So they know they don't feel alone. Here's me, you know, the majority leader, then majority leader, now minority leader. And we always feel alone. Here's how I felt. You're going to empathize. Second, for their children, Jewish people's children, who know the history, but not really the way we do. How, you know, we've been suffering through all the years. You know the funny joke about the 3 lines that describe every Jewish holiday? They tried to kill us. We survived. Let's eat. Okay, so that. It's aimed, third, it's aimed at non-Jewish people who have always been sympathetic to Jewish people and to Israel. And I know what people think, because my friends talk to me. They say, why are you so sensitive? This is not so bad. But they don't carry the 5,000 years of Jewish history on their shoulder. When things begin to get bad, they could get worse. Everyone thought the Jews were in great shape in Germany in 1920, and look what happened. I lost relatives who were marched, machine gunned down from 85 years old to 3 months old on my great-grandmother's porch. And fourth, I wrote it about anti-Semitism, right, but I wrote it particularly to the left. Me being a progressive Democrat, I thought I ought to talk to people on the left that you can't be anti-Semitic and you're sliding into it. When you say by any means necessary, does that mean kill all the Jews? When you say genocide, a vicious term, that people may not feel Israel did it the right way, but it's not genocide. It's Hamas who does genocide, who wanted to kill all the Jews wherever they are. And fifth, so I wrote it for them, and finally, I hope this will be read by college students, high school students, who don't know the history, who don't know what's gone on, and I believe if everyone read it, and I'll tell you there's one other person who should read it. Donald Trump.
Okay, so Trump the other day said about you, he used to be Jewish, he's not Jewish anymore, now he's a Palestinian. Answer that.
Tell my mother. But seriously, Trump treats Jews sort of transactional. Oh, they have money. Oh, I need their votes. But he doesn't understand what Jewish people are like, and he does things that can lead to anti-Semitism. In Virginia, when they marched on a Jewish synagogue, both sides are to blame. He sits down with this guy, Fuentes, a known anti-Semite. He talks about replacement theory, which is anti-Semitic. He cuts money from synagogues. He should read the book. He could learn something.
Well, someone's got to read it to him.
Our thanks to Senator Chuck Schumer. Come back. Keep coming back. You know you're welcome at this table to talk.
Come back.
His new book, Antisemitism in America, A Warning. You can buy it by scanning the QR code at the bottom of the screen.